Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we prove that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
And ever and ever.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Episode 20.
Episode 20. I'm excited.
This is a milestone.
2 10s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was looking when we started, and 3 months have flown by pretty quickly.
We kind of like went through every episode, like just for like a minute each, from 1 to 19. And you could see the progression in
It's like, oh, the angle. Oh, the camera.
The video quality, the sound quality. I think we're at a good place to like focus on developing our content.
Yeah.
And just stay with the visuals and the audio as it is. But Travis has an itch. He wants to change up our studio setting. And I'm like, one step at a time.
Yeah. If you go to our YouTube, you'll see the type of setup we have. And there are things I would change, just like the camera we're using and stuff like that. But it's working now. People are enjoying it. When people find out what we're using, they're like, what?
Yeah. So, when, we'll get there. We do this for free. We don't get paid yet. We are actually working on attempting to get our first sponsor. So that's something we started working on this week, like doing the research on how to ask for sponsorships. So if you have any experience in that area, if you know someone who could connect us, let us know. We already have a template we're working with. However, speaking to someone who's been through that, or maybe works for a company that works with small podcasts or micro influencers, let us know, because, knowledge is power.
And we are willing to hear it. So
exactly. Definitely.
So how was your week?
My week was pretty chill. Monday, my day was taken for a spin. So we put Eli into modeling. We sent his photos out to various agencies here in New York City, and he was actually signed to an agency, and he got his first job on Monday.
My boy got a job. And he's telling everyone.
He's telling everyone, you don't have a job? I have a job. He is so excited. But I'm learning that the industry is very short notice, last minute. Opportunities could pop up.
You should tell them about your Sunday. What's it Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday.
So we found out about the opportunity on Saturday, and we had to go get COVID tests, both rapid and PCR. And we found out like at 1:00, and the location closed at 2:00. It was a mess. And then we didn't know the location or the time of this job until Monday. Like, we knew it was on Monday, but we didn't know the time or the location. So it was like, is Eli going to school? Is he not going to school?
And that's no knock on that agency. That's just the business.
That's the business. That's how it is. And honestly, if I was still teaching full time, we wouldn't even be able to put Eli in this type of opportunity, because you need someone to go with them. And apparently they're usually on weekdays. And thankfully, Eli does well academically. So I'm okay with, let's say maybe if he gets a job once a month, which would be amazing. I'm okay with him missing a day of school, and I'm an educator, so I know I can fill in the gaps if I need to. But it's a crazy business so far. Day one was nuts. He was like, oh my God, I have a job? So I have money? And I said, no, well, not really, because your money is going to go into your college fund. Like, we could save a little bit of it and maybe get you something you really want. But most of it is going to go in your college fund. I'm like, you know what a college fund is? No, I explained that to him. Then he asked about if I went to college, and I'm like, yeah, remember I graduated? He's like, oh yeah, because I finished my master's degree like a year and a half ago, almost. Going on 2 years ago. So he remembers. And then he said, did daddy go to college?
Dun, dun, dun.
And I was like, no. So it's always awkward, because it's like, he was like, why not? So I mentioned, he just kind of went straight to work after college. After high school. College wasn't on his mind. No one ever really pushed him to go to college, I guess. And then what happens, babe?
So my week.
Yeah.
nothing too crazy about my week, but earlier I think it was after his job, Eli came to me and said, "Oh, I have to talk to you." What do you have to talk to me about? And y'all know how I feel about giving me the setup for the talk. Just talk.
He got nervous. Like, what is Eli?
What does he have to tell me?
He was like, "No, I'm not in trouble, Daddy."
Yeah, no, he said, "You're not in trouble."
Oh.
He said, "You're not in trouble." It's like, okay, great. We didn't even get to speak that day. For whatever reason, we forgot, or he forgot. And then he reminded me.
You took him to school yesterday.
I took him to school yesterday. And he goes, so we're driving. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, Dad, remember I had to speak to you." We're almost at the school at this point because I forgot. It's like, me and Eli joke around a lot. Him telling me he has to talk to me about something, I didn't take it that serious.
If it was me, you would have hunted me down.
I would have had a heart attack. So we're almost at his school. He goes, "So Mommy was telling me you never went to college." I'm like, "No." And I'm just, hands on the wheel. He goes, "I just want you to know that even though no one encouraged you to go to college, you could do it. You could go back. You could start over.
Oh,
You're
my
smarter."
God.
And I'm just like, okay.
My heart.
So,
oh, my God.
Instantly, I'm like, oh, Stephanie got this boy telling me to go to college.
No.
But then I get home. Well, we wrapped up that conversation, and I was just like, I'll really consider it. I appreciate that. And he goes, he says, "Are you crying?" I'm like, "No, I'm good."
He's like, "Are you okay? Are you sad?"
He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No, I'm good, Pop." So I dropped him to school. We had our routine, big hug, love you. So I called Steph on the drive home. It's literally like a 5-minute drive. And I'm like, "Did you put him up to this?"
I did not.
So yeah, my son is so special in the best possible way.
And I absolutely did not. Just in me telling him, like, you just weren't encouraged. He felt like,
there goes my in.
I got to encourage him. We got to do it, Mom.
So now I got to really think about this because, I want college to be something that's put at the forefront for him. Like, I don't even want it to be an option for him not to go to college. Not in one of those negative ways, but I just know that college can really catapult his life in a way that just getting into the workforce can't. Mm-hmm. Getting straight into the workforce, it's a lot of luck and knowing the right people. I don't want him have to maneuver life that way. I want it to be like, no, look at my accomplishments. You're going to let me in this door because of them.
I also feel like it's networking and life experience, like living in a dorm first before living in your own apartment. Or even if you live off campus with roommates first before like the real world. I feel like work is like you have a job and coworkers, but you got to be careful not to get too close with your coworkers, right? There's like a line there. Whereas in college, you build like your lifelong friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also do know that over the years, like college has become less and less necessary. And I do want to be open to maybe college isn't what his life's going to be, like we have to be okay with that possibility. Oh God, Travis is stressed.
Yeah, because I just know that even at the stage I'm in my life, it could be better. Mm-hmm. There could be more money on the table.
Yeah.
And what's hindering that is a degree. Yeah. I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for the people that put me where I'm at right now. But I just know that the struggle could have been a little less if I decided, all right, graduated high school, let's go get this degree and whatever.
But everything happens for a reason.
Yes. It led me here. It led me with you.
Yeah. I feel like maybe if you went to college, you would have been on a whole different, maybe we would have never met.
I would have married a Karen or something.
Oh, God.
No, I wouldn't.
I was going to say, I don't think I could see you like a white girl.
So, yeah, say all that to say, Eli definitely planted a bug in my head. I
was going to ask you, but I didn't want to seem like I was pressing you. Like, okay, so now that he said that, what are you thinking?
Because he's the type of kid, he'll follow up. This isn't a one-time conversation. So, thought about our convo, Dad? So, it's something to think about. And
he would be so proud of you.
Yeah, I just love him so much.
He would be hype. All right. You ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this week we have 2 topics. And the first one is interesting. So our video that kind of went mini viral on TikTok was a statistic, right? Like 1 in 4 couples don't sleep in the same bed. So we want to start looking up research about relationships because we feel like it's interesting to dive into the results and what we think is causing those results or leading to those results, or do we agree or disagree? X, Y, and Z. So a friend of ours hit us up and said, I was listening to the radio and 75% of people who cheat say their cheating actually improved their marriages. Why are you looking away?
I don't.
So we dug into all of this, but Travis, what were your initial thoughts when you first heard that? 75% of people say cheating helped their marriage.
So initially, when I heard this, I was like, fuck, we're going to discuss this. And then now my shit's going to come back up. I'll be honest. That's what I thought about.
Yeah.
But then when I sat with it a little longer, I was like, I could kind of see why.
Okay, why? What's your rationale?
So my rationale is that sometimes if you're willing to put in the work and you go through something like an affair, and both parties are agreeing to do the work after that type of affair, it can lead to a stronger bond.
That's going to come up later in something I found.
So, what instantly came to mind is you don't get the Carter album, the Carters, without Lemonade. Lemonade had to happen. She aired it all out. And then you get the Carters, the makeup, we back, baby. And although I will never want to push the narrative of, oh, you got to get a little cheating out your system, or, everyone cheats a little. No, I want to teach my sons that you just have to be honest with people and just be truthful. Like, you don't have to hurt anyone, and you can be in a relationship where you're monogamous and it's okay. So I don't want to push the narrative that, oh, you got to get a little cheating out your system where everyone gets cheated on so it could become better. That's not the point I'm trying to push. But I can see how going through something traumatic like that can bring people together if both parties are willing to put in the work to heal.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And that comes up later. My initial thoughts were, who the hell is, who did this research? Because, I was a psych major in college, and one of the main courses is research methods. And we dig into analyzing data and being hypercritical about who's doing the study, right? So like, think about, this is totally not related, but there was a time where there was so much media commercials about milk being so good for you. Got milk.
Milk does a body good.
Yeah, and the mustaches and celebrities. But the people funding all of this are dairy companies. So it's like, well, duh, it's going to benefit them. So I'm very hypercritical about, okay, who's saying this? But before I even dug into that, I also was like, well, I guess, let's say a couple, say Travis and I, and he's complaining about something to me and I'm ignoring it. He's being open, he's being honest, he's communicating his needs, and I'm just refusing to acknowledge them, right? So then, unfortunately, he cheats on me. Not that he was doing it on purpose to be spiteful, but there's a need that I wasn't fulfilling and I was refusing to fulfill, I was ignoring. It might be a wake-up call for me, right? It might be that final, call for help, or that final call for, change in our relationship. So I was like, I kind of see that. Okay,
well, hold on. So I hear what you're saying, and it sounds amazing. But is there a limit on the things you're asking for, or the person is asking for? Like, if I'm asking for a Gawk 3000, right?
And I just can't get past 1500. I can't do it.
And I go and find me some Gawk 3000.
See, it depends on what you're asking for. It does. Okay. It depends on what you're asking for, and there's a difference between your partner just isn't capable or just ignoring your needs, your desires.
And it doesn't always
putting it
have
on
to
the
be sexual.
back burner. It doesn't have to be sexual. It could be like, you know, you don't buy me flowers, or you don't make me feel special, or you don't give me words of affirmation that I need, or physical touch. You know, like your love languages, like, hello, I keep telling you this is what I need. But that's also a sign of maybe that's not your person. Not necessarily that cheating is going to help. But whatever. That was my initial thought. And then I still said, I don't condone cheating, even if that's the reason. I would prefer like an ultimatum moment. Like, I've been asking you for this, so we're gonna work on it. You're gonna try to give me what I've been asking for, or I'm leaving. I'm done. So I prefer someone to kind of give an ultimatum before they cheat.
What about, instead of a leaving ultimatum, it's more like, we've been trying, you're not giving it to me, so whatever comes next, if it's another woman or another man, then you just got to live with that because you're not hearing me.
Nah, because I feel like if you're already on the fence and you're like, this person isn't fulfilling me in X, Y, and Z reasons, the solution isn't cheating. It's being with someone else, I feel.
So I'll say some toxic shit right now, but
what? Say it.
So I know in my previous relationship, when I was cheating, I used to be happier in my main relationship.
Why? I gotta dig into that.
It's fucked up. Don't do this. But I used to feel like, you know, everything's all right. I'm getting this from A, and then I go home to B, and even though B is annoying the fuck out of me, A is, you know, picking up the slack.
That's interesting. I feel like that instantly made me think of someone trying to escape their life. Because you're saying she's annoying me, but this is like my pick-me-up. And it reminds me a lot of, especially when couples add children.
The fix-it baby.
Not only the fix-it baby, but they have a baby and it impacts their relationship in a way that they didn't prepare for. So then they're using affairs to kind of escape that life, because children are a huge responsibility. They mess up your sleeping pattern. Your wife is exhausted. Appointments, tantrums. Your house is a mess. And you went from your peace, so it was just you and your partner. That could be a lot for some people. And I feel like people escape their realities with affairs. That's kind of like what you made me think of.
Definitely was doing that. Yeah. So, I mean, don't do that. But it did make me think of that. Like, what if that's the reason?
Yeah. No. So, like I said, I was like, hold up. Who the hell is saying this? Who did this research? So I found out that the company that actually conducted the study is a platform called Illicit Encounters.
What is it? What?
It's Illicit Encounters, and it's a dating site that's specifically for married people or people in monogamous relationships.
It's me.
Yeah, you, motherfucker. That are looking for an affair.
Oh, not
That's
me.
still
Not
you?
Me. Not me.
All right.
Not me.
Well, you know where to go in case.
Illicit Encounters.
It's like a UK-based dating site.
Oh, across the pond.
Across the pond. So I'm like, well, duh, this research
benefits them.
And they said they surveyed like 2,000 people, but they probably got people from their website who are already people
that's
who
what we're
are cheating.
Yeah,
so of course they're going to say, oh yeah, I'm cheating because it's going to help my marriage.
Yeah. So it's pushing their narrative.
And it also reminds me now that I just listened to a clip and I just posted on Instagram. These two best friends, they have a podcast and they're talking about how they like the idea of open relationships because they rather be in an open relationship where they're communicating their ability to see other people instead of getting cheated on all the time. But that's problematic for me because it's like you're in the open relationship because you don't want to feel like you're getting cheated on. not because it's something you just genuinely want, appreciate, is a lifestyle you prefer. It's more so like, well, I might as well instead of getting cheated on.
Yeah, this is guards me from pain, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
It's not. So I feel like the people who are saying this are gaslighting their partners. Like, I cheated because I felt it would improve our relationship, you know? Like, this bit of jealousy is going to make you be a better partner. Or I needed to see what was out there, so I'm reminded that I have the best at home. Like, all the gaslighting that could happen with this research.
Yeah, I think it's cap. Especially after hearing where it's coming from, I don't buy that shit. Now, I'm not saying that people
don't bounce back from cheating.
Exactly, because we've seen it in the media. We know people.
Yeah,
you could say we've gone through that. So it does happen. Will I say it's the norm? No.
Yeah, no.
Will I say it's necessary to have a successful relationship? Hell no.
It's not the solution to your problem.
No, that's not the wave. Yeah. So yeah, it took us all of 5 minutes to figure out where this information was coming from. So if you see something that sounds like bullshit, it's more likely than not bullshit.
And that could relate to any research you see, right? Like, even medical research, educational research, like, who is pushing this data, right? There's this thing called, I think it's called research bias. I can't remember the terms. I took this research methods course years ago. But basically, if you're conducting a survey, but the researcher is kind of giving you way too much information, it's going to make you a biased participant because you know what they're looking for.
So like prior?
What do you mean? Prior to conducting the survey. So let's say I hand you a survey.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I'm doing this survey because I want to know if the new park in the neighborhood has improved the quality of life of people who live here. It's giving too much. Like, I already know, well, you want to know if it improved the quality of life. So I'm going to be like, yeah, even though I've never been to the park. Yeah. I don't know. So you have to be very broad and general when you're introducing a survey to people. But it's like, if Illicit Encounters is a website for married people who want affairs, it's asking, did an affair help your marriage? And then these people who are trying to find affairs, of course, they're going to say, yes, this is why I do it. It totally improves our marriage. Yeah, you know, I'm not cheating because I want to be an asshole. I'm cheating because I want to help my marriage.
But I also wonder, do you still, I'm curious for the people who like join that app, does your partner know? Or is it so, like, are you really in the same, like the actual definition of cheating? Like, it's in the secret, it's you know, they just have no idea because
based on the description of what the website is, it is a secret cheating kind of thing because it says married or people who are in attached relationships or monogamous relationships.
You know, because I was going to say, it just sounds like you're in an open relationship.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it.
You might as well be on Tinder.
You could be on any website if you're in an open relationship. It's like specifically for married people. So that means they're finding partners who know you're married and know that it's a secret, so we'll move. Imagine
like I'm on there and I see your profile.
Right? Like we're both cheating.
Like, you want to have dinner tonight?
Crazy. So I dug a little deeper into this and then I found this other website, right? So there's this, it's like a blog / publishing company called Your Tango. And they say that their focus is on love, relationships, emotional wellness, and self-empowerment. And they published an article with three surprising reasons why an affair can actually be good for your relationship. So the first one is that it's a big red warning sign. Couples who have been coasting, their unhappiness has been under the radar, it kind of wakes you up.
It goes back to the earlier point.
It goes back to communication and lack of communication. Because if you have no idea that your partner is feeling emotionally neglected, physically neglected, like something's wrong, the communication there is bad. So that's why that one is like, okay, I guess it's like, oh, is a warning, but let's just go back to old-fashioned communication. Let's talk about it. Now, if you have been open, if you have discussed this and your partner is ignoring it, it kind of goes back to my initial thought.
Yeah.
The second one kind of reminds me of what you said. Their second reason was it'll make your relationship better than ever. Because if you decided to overcome the cheating and put in the work together, you could come out on the other side much stronger. So like making that decision, like this isn't going to break us, but we have work to do.
Yeah, I see that. The only reason I'm a little wary of pushing that is because it is possible to meet someone, fall in love, and live out the rest of your days where you've both have been monogamous to one another, or at least had that open dialogue where, you're honest 100% of the time. I do believe it's possible.
And it doesn't mean like couples who've overcome cheating are stronger than couples who haven't.
Exactly. One of the things I have to basically live with for the rest of our life is like, although you trust me, it could have been way more if I hadn't put us through that stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
It could have been like that, put on this blindfold and walk and don't worry about it. I got you. And now it's kind of like, let me see where the fuck we walking.
Because I can't push shit past nobody.
So I don't think that's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Their last reason was, this is my favorite reason. It's the nail in the coffin, basically, that is the end of the line for your relationship. So This is for couples who shouldn't be together anymore, but they're holding on because maybe they've been together so long, or maybe they're comfortable, or maybe they're just afraid of being alone. Like, I know they're not my person, right? Like someone left a comment on TikTok and was like, how do you know if you still like your partner? It's 3 years in and I don't even know if I want it anymore. Girl, even you're thinking that.
The fact that you had the courage to type that.
Move on. But there are people who stay in this stuckness, and cheating is finally okay, let's separate.
Yeah. I'm thinking about my previous relationship, and I don't necessarily say cheating was the eye opener for me.
Still stayed together.
I cheated. She cheated. I probably did it more, but we both were cheating on one another.
But she was better at it.
Probably better at it. And yeah, I just never thought about leaving her. She was like my person in the sense that I felt comfortable. Obviously, that's unhealthy as fuck. Mm-hmm. But who knows? Well, what if I said, like, let's have an open relationship? Let's just...
Did y'all ever consider that?
No. I mean, that type of language, I don't feel like it was out there. Like, people who did that type of stuff were really, like
weird.
Underground.
Like swingers and shit.
Yeah. It wasn't until I met you that even the idea of, like, being in a throuple was something that even crossed my mind. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So... I don't think when we were dating that year range, it was something that people even did. Or, sorry, how there's like this stigma, like, oh, that's white people shit. That's what it was.
That's what it felt like at the time. Okay. All right. So that's that with that. The next topic that we want to talk about is actually inspired by a Lil Duval tweet. So Lil Duval is known to say like
some pretty outlandish
things, some tweets.
And he's a comedian.
So I feel like he's trolling a lot of the time. Or
I think he does. I think he has a pretty healthy balance of giving you some real shit, maybe with a little bit of humor, or sometimes just 100% real.
100% real, yeah.
So he tweeted this out early in the week, and he said, "In a perfect world, women with kids shouldn't be working. That is a full job itself. I think one of the reasons balance is off nowadays in our community. I think this is one of the reasons balance is off nowadays in our community." Mm-hmm. What do you think he's talking about?
There's so many layers to this, right? Because The first one I think of is, we had this whole women's suffrage movement. Women years ago, women weren't allowed to work. Like the idea was you got married and you were a homemaker. So I believe that women should have that opportunity to be whoever they want, even if they're mothers or not, right? Because then we have this subgroup where we think women who are overachievers and businesswomen or, the CEOs of their companies, that they can't also be mothers. And I disagree with that. Like, I believe that they can coexist together. However, there's this big stigma that women who are moms and don't want to work and want to be the stay-at-home moms and taking their kids to swim and soccer and play dates and all that they're lazy, that they want to be kept, that, oh, she's pregnant now, so what, she's not going to work? Because I feel like I even got some side eyes, and I know part of it is because I'm such a workaholic, so people found it weird that, like, I decided to quit my job. But, even it's like, okay, well, it's like weird. People don't want moms to choose motherhood.
So I think that even though his tweet is probably well-intentioned, I think there's an underline of misogyny in it. Because for a long time, women were put down for shit. You could say they still are. Mm-hmm. We're maybe getting to a place a little where we're starting to see that it's okay for a woman to work and a man to stay at home. Like, things like that are happening. There's more women in positions of power. But to say that the balance in the world is off because women have to work is, to me, sounds misogynist. Mm-hmm. Because, women run shit. And they can be capable of doing both. They're not a monolith.
So that's why I want to stop you. We are capable of doing both, but we need support. I feel like there's also that women are so strong. Black women are so strong, right? They're resilient. There was like this tweet about, like, I don't want my kid to have to talk about how resilient I was. I want my kid to be able to say my mom was so happy, right? But there's this, badge of honor of women who do it all.
Oh, getting out the mud.
And it's like, what the fuck? Can we just be chill? Can we be happy? Can I have the support to be both a professional and a mom? Because it's hard. There was this, someone else was talking about, we're expected to work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, buy groceries, cook, work out, and socialize in a day. That's a lot of shit to do in 24 hours. Now add being a mom. Now add, when you're a parent, you have to worry about that kid sleeping enough, eating enough, getting nutrients, socializing, learning. And now imagine doing all of that without the support of your partner. Yeah. That's way too fucking much. So I feel like instead of women shouldn't work, it should be women should be supported more.
I agree. It was never a thing to me when we were discussing you quitting your job. Like, it wasn't something like, oh, fuck. Of course, I had concerns about money.
Yeah.
But all that I feel like that was a easy solution, because now we just have to talk about finances and budget properly and less takeout, whatever the case is. I was never like, oh, she set me up. This bitch, this was her plan all along. I was never concerned about that. And if you want to work tomorrow, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And if we can manage like this for a year, 2 years, you're a boss ass bitch. Like, I know there's going to be something that's going to bring value to our family that you're going to do, or we're going to do together. We're probably doing it now.
Yeah.
So I have no concerns, and I know what you're capable of. But there's a but. Not everyone's you.
Yeah.
And being a kept woman, although is great, the mother of your children can stay home and take care of your children, take care of your home, create a home. There are women who don't do shit, who are not taking care of the children, who are, basically phoning it in. So I feel like if you're going to take on that role, take it on as if it were a real job, because there are women who are being kept and failing at that.
Okay. That's harsh and it hurts. And you know me, I'm a womanist and I try to be like, what do you mean? But just like with anything, there's exceptions to the rule. So yeah, of course, there must be women who are stay-at-home moms, but not really doing it right. And I do want to also acknowledge that sometimes mental health plays a role in that. Postpartum depression plays a role in that. So I don't want to judge when people are going through that, but I do get what you're saying. This conversation also reminds me that I had a Facebook memory pop up. And it was like I was hugging Eli. And in the caption, I think I said, I worked 63 hours last week and 54 hours this week, all for you. Like, all for my son. So I was basically never with my son because I had to make money to keep the roof over our head.
Can we take it even a step further back? You were 7-8 months pregnant and working
overnights when I was pregnant with Eli.
I would cut off my right foot before I allow you to step out this house after 9 o'clock to go do a job.
I used to work midnight till 7 a.m.
And I mean, like, obviously,
or 8 a.m.
I just feel like it wasn't like you were going to do your passion.
No.
It was what was it?
I was like a cashier at a check cashing place.
You were doing it for money.
For money. I bought my son's crib. I bought his changing table. I bought a dresser. Like, I was buying everything my kid needed.
So, I'm not going to get into how else I feel about that. But, yeah, that's not okay.
But do know, of course, looking back, I'm like, why did I think any of this was okay? But I felt like I had no choice. Like, I don't think anyone could have said, Stephanie, don't do that. I would have been like, what do you mean? Like, I need to do this. Like, this is what I'm doing. Like, and I didn't feel burdened at the time. Looking back, they say hindsight is 20/20, yes. And of course, I could say, well, why didn't this person I was creating a child with work harder, do more? Why wasn't he working overnight?
This conversation, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I always get a little sad, right? When you talk about, I don't know if it's because I'm home right now and I'm not doing much, but like River is doing a lot. Like, I don't remember all these movements. I don't remember doing this or that. And the fact that you were so busy when you were pregnant with Eli, working overnight, doing X, Y, and Z.
And I wasn't only working. So I would leave my overnight job and then work a part-time. So I would work midnight to 8 a.m. Then I had like a part-time. It was like 9 to 1 p.m. in the city. Then I would go home and like get some sleep before working overnight again. So I had 2 jobs.
So yeah, all that to say, it makes me sad that you were kind of robbed of that experience with Eli.
Yeah.
I'm grateful and thankful that we're in a position where I can leave this house and provide enough for us for you to be able to stay here, relax, record videos of River sticking his hand out your belly button. Like, yeah. I appreciate it all. I hope it just makes you even appreciate your experience with Eli more, even though you don't really remember those things. You still went through it, Yeah.
I remember always saying, like, moms talk about that instant love they felt for their kid. Like, when they found out they were pregnant, like, it was like this maternal instinct that just took over their body. And I, for years, said with Eli, I was like, I didn't feel that. Like, I'm like, I kind of feel like a bad mom, but like, I feel like I was in survival mode, that I couldn't let those emotions even like exist. Like, I was working. Like, how am I going to have money for X, Y, and Z? That I couldn't even be into it, right? And I'm like, how do women say they love being pregnant? I just felt inconvenienced the whole time, like all these changes in my body, and then people were saying it's normal. It's like, what the fuck? And I always say that the moment where that maternal instinct switched on for me was while I was giving birth. And the doctor finally said, okay, you're dilated enough. I think we're going to start pushing in 30 minutes. It hit me like a ton of bricks, like a fucking avalanche. In that moment, after being pregnant for 9 months, I was in labor for 10 hours. And it took that moment. I don't know why. It was like a switch. And I wonder if my body, my mental health was doing exactly what it needed to do to survive what I was going through.
That's interesting.
You know, like I needed that. Like I was like stone cold working my ass off for 9 months. And then 30 minutes before I started pushing, that mom, that love, that instinct was turned on because that's when it needed to be. Isn't that crazy? Like, it's so fucking nuts.
So,
like,
I mean, you are a mother now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't deny that. Do you feel like that switch for River has just been on because you already have Eli? Or is it explain that, how you've been feeling with this pregnancy?
I feel like it was a little different because we knew we took a risk. So it was like, oh shit, I might be pregnant. And then knowing that it worked on one try.
Your boy.
Knowing that it worked in one try, there's that like feeling of like, this boy is special. He's supposed to be here. We couldn't have planned it any better, right? So I have a little bit of that. But then a lot of the earlier weeks were on how is Eli gonna feel? So I feel like those first few weeks, a lot of it was, how am I going to break it to Eli? How is he going to feel not being the only child? I've talked about how Eli's early years were tough. And I was like, I could have never had another kid during those times. So I'm like, is he ready now? Is he emotionally ready now? So I feel like those first few weeks, my emotions and feelings were wrapped around that. Then when I crossed that hurdle and I told him, and he was so excited and so happy, he melted my heart. He still melts my heart every single day. He talks to his brother like he's here. We went to dinner and the host said, oh, table for 3? He said, well, actually 4 because River. Like, he loves his brother. He's upset that his crib's not going to be in his room.
Yeah.
He wants to have like a brother room already.
Let's see how long that lasts.
Let's see how long that lasts. But so those feelings I had to overcome first. Then it was being pregnant during COVID.
Yeah.
And the whole vaccine versus no vaccine. Then knowing that my job was in jeopardy because of it. Having to make that decision of, am I going to stop working? And then feeling like I paid $40,000 for a master's degree that now I'm not going to use. Or, I don't know. I don't see myself just being at home all the time. So it's been a wave of emotions, but I would say that I do feel like that maternal love, I've been able to indulge in it and feel it. And feel his kicks and be excited about the kicks and looking online every week, like, what can he do now? I'm able to indulge in that now in a way that I wasn't able to with Eli, for sure.
Got it. I will say this has been my favorite pregnancy of ours. So far.
So far? Oh, so he's trying to get me pregnant again. That's what he's saying.
One shot killer, they call me.
How has it been for you?
It's been amazing. I've never been more excited for something in my life. Mm-hmm. I feel like the nerves will probably hit me like the day it's happening.
Okay.
But as far as everything else, I'm just excited. Like, I want to know what he's going to look like. I've said this before. I want to know what he's going to, how he's going to sound, look, his personality, like everything. Yeah. Just excitement. I'm not worried about anything other than, I just want him to be healthy and just be, hopefully he's an amazing kid. I was, I came into Eli's life pretty early, so I was around for a lot of the things you spoke about. And, it's been 7 years, going almost 8 years later. And 7 years, almost 7 years later. And it's just kind of like a thing that happened. Like, it doesn't scare me from being a father.
And it's like you weren't there for year one of Eli's life. And although it's an intense time and like, the birth, newborn, it's still only 1 year out of the 7 that Eli has lived. So I feel like, yes, it's new, but you're like, I can handle it.
Yeah.
And Eli wasn't easy by any means.
Yeah, I remember have we told a story about the first time we went to my family for the barbecue?
No, I don't think so.
So you all know I'm Jamaican and West Indian family. And the first time everyone was going to meet Stephanie was at a 4th of July barbecue, and brought Stephanie and Eli was definitely probably at the height of his tantrums, you think, or maybe gearing up.
That's when they were gearing up.
So for whatever reason, something happened and Eli smacked the shit out of Stephanie. And if any of you listening or watching
have West Indian family,
it was, you could hear a pin drop because everyone was like, oh nah. Like, who's gonna murder him? Like, somebody has
and
to.
I was embarrassed, of course.
I remember he was, having a tantrum, and I just kind of picked him up quick and swooped him into the apartment or into the house, and it was just kind of like calming him down. And Stephanie's by herself.
I'm outside by myself with his whole family after
so
I
that
just got
happened.
Slapped.
Yeah, so I brought him in, calmed him down, and then we came back out.
Which, now that I'm older and wiser, is normal behavior. Is typical behavior for toddlers to like smack people because they're still learning how to use their bodies, express themselves. Like, it's not like, oh my God, your 1.5-year-old slapping you, something's wrong. Like, that's normal. But at the time, I didn't know that. I didn't have the tools that I have now. I felt like, oh my God, I'm raising a little demon. What am I doing wrong? I used to blame myself. Like, what is it? Or I'm like, this must be his biological father's DNA up in here. But yeah, you've been through the mud with me.
We got it up out the mud together.
Yes.
And I'm not worried about anything. Everyone's like, oh, enjoy your sleep now. I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm just gonna go through the motions and continue to take care of my family and our new addition. And yeah, it is what it is. Right. In the best possible way.
Definitely. So to wrap up this discussion about women shouldn't be working, I just feel like our way of life as a society is outdated. When women were home, an 8-hour workday makes sense for the husband, right? Because the woman's home. Now, I'm happy that everyone has an opportunity to work and be who they want. But now both people in the household are expected to be working 8 hours a day.
If not longer.
And then commute time. Then you're judged if you're eating takeout because you got to cook and provide healthy meals. I just feel like our work culture is kind of toxic and unrealistic for raising families. That's
one of the things I'm most grateful for with this pandemic. It's a lot, not all, but a good amount of companies have had to reflect on like their working arrangements, be more open to working from home arrangements. And, I'm very grateful that the company I work for, the CEO has, been pushing that. Like, take that time to go to that game. Take that time to go to that doctor's appointment. Take that time to go pick up your children from school. Even he just recently announced, I haven't even told you, he's like, I want everyone to work from home the week of Thanksgiving. However, you have to make it happen. Talk to your managers and make it happen. Also, the week of Christmas, I want everyone to, I think he said from like the 22nd to the New Year.
To work from home.
Work from home. Like, make that a priority.
For everybody?
Everyone.
Oh, that's amazing.
So he And in his newsletter, basically saying, you know, I wanted to either give you more time with your family, or maybe, you know, a lot of people travel, give you some time to get to your destination. But that's amazing. That should be the norm, not the, oh my God, what an amazing guy. It should just be like, of course, these are the slow times. Why wouldn't you do something like that? Before the pandemic, I didn't even I couldn't imagine working from home.
Yeah, absolutely. And that also, it gives you flexibility. Like we talk about being so tied to New York City. It's expensive. You know, like it's expensive. But then it's like, well, this is where our job is, or this is where that is. And it's like now all this work from home is kind of opening up the door for like people to be able to be more flexible about where they live. Yeah. I feel like we do okay for ourselves if we didn't live in New York. Like you need a lot of money to live here to be able to live comfortably how you want and be able to save for college and be able to put a couple of dollars in the stock market, you know, like it's too much to do on, you know, salaries that we have.
Like I love New York City, and
absolutely,
I love the convenience of everything. I love that you could do something different every weekend for in you know, to the end of time, and probably not do the same thing twice. I love all that. But if I'm being realistic with the type of person I am, the stage of our life we're in, are we really even taking advantage of those things?
Nope.
And it's just kind of like, but what if we want to go bungee jumping off the Empire State Building?
No, like right now, the things that are important to us are having space for our child to move around and explore his world. You know, like right now, it's like, well, we're going to have a playpen at first. So that means our kid has to play in this like rectangle because there's no other way. We need a studio space. Like our studio space now is our dining room space. So every single time we record, we're moving our dining table, setting everything up. So it takes more time to do our passion. I have my pole, which I love. I don't want to get rid of it. It keeps me moving. It keeps me in touch with my femininity and my body flexibility. And it just makes me feel good. I don't want to get rid of that. But it's like now that we're adding a child, we have to make choices as to what's most important.
Yeah.
You know, I do my tutoring and I have this beautiful bookshelf that's in storage that I wish it was like the backdrop of my Zoom sessions. But it's like there's literally not a wall for us to have my bookcase behind my desk. Yeah. Like, why do we have to choose between that? And all of those things I just mentioned are way more important than being so close to downtown Manhattan.
To some Thai food.
It's way more important. So I feel like we're in that stage of like considering a relocation. And that doesn't mean now or in 6 months, but you know, down the line. Yeah.
This was fun. I think we can wrap it up.
Yes.
Baby.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I still like you.
Episode 20.
Episode 20.
Thank you all. Thank you. Peace.
Peace.